everybody, it's Geoff with the ABQJournal, and I am here in the pit, 55 minutes away from the NIT Quarterfinal, the final game in the pit. This time I mean it. There were some senior nights, there was a women's senior night, there was a men's senior night. There have now been 3 NIT games, but this time there was a state tournament for high school basketball. This time I mean it. This is the last basketball game in the pit this year, and hopefully it won't be the Lobos' last game. I'm joined, as I always am in pregame, and much appreciative this whole season for you doing this and for the Lobos doing this. The coach, Scott Waterman. Scott, how are you doing?
Doing great. Like I said, Sunday night, we told you we'd be back here on Tuesday, and we have a great opportunity against a really good St. Joe's team. Coming off, I think they've won 9 of their last 10. Had a really great comeback win against Cal on Sunday night.
A ridiculous comeback.
Yeah, they were down 19, I think.
With 13-30.
Yeah, and we're going to have to play our A game tonight. It's similar to playing a high-level Mountain West opponent.
I would tell Lobo fans listening, or anybody listening, that George Washington, I think Eric Olin kind of described them as, when they had their fastball, they were a really good team, but there was a reason they finished 6th or 7th in the A10 and have a worse record than the St. Joe's team, and they're a little more volatile. Their good is really good, their bad is a little bit worse than what the St. Joe's team is. St. Joe's finished 3rd in the A10, and they finished 3rd for a reason. Really good defensive team, really sound. It sounds like they're a really well-coached team. Their coach, Donahue, is a guy that has come to the pit and has won games here before. When he was coaching Penn, he hadn't won a game here against the Lobos. So he knows this environment. He knows kind of what to expect. And he's a really good coach. Tell us something about what he does that makes the St. Joe team a really good team that finished 3rd in a good Atlantic 10.
Yeah, I would say that they do this simple really well. They're not going to wow you with their X's and O's with all sorts of different schemes and strategies, but they're really simple 5-out, we like to call zoom action, which is like a down screen to a handoff action, and they're really good at them. And they've got the right personnel in their right personnel on the court with some good shooters. 22, their big guy, Justice Agjabor. Agjabor is his name. Is a formidable force inside, and he's the A10 Defensive Player of the Year. But Simpson and Glover Toscano are 2 really good shooters. So we're gonna have our hands full tonight.
I would tell Lobo fans, again, kind of listening, that this is a St. Joe's team that plays a little bit slow. I don't know if they play slow, but they play really good defensively, and they can slow you down. But when you say they do the simple well, one thing they don't do is they don't foul much. You guys are going to have to get some offense in the half court and in transition, because they're not going to send you to the free throw line a whole lot. I know in recent weeks, Lobo fans probably don't mind hearing that. There have been a couple games where the free throw line wasn't the friend of the Lobos, but it is nice to generate, 15, 20 points a game at the free throw line when you can. They're not going to send you there much. They don't draw a lot of fouls either, though. They seem to be, as you say they do the simple well, they seem to not hurt themselves, and that's kind of what you're saying too, right? Like they probably don't turn it over a whole lot. They do a lot of things that don't hurt themselves and create opportunities, whereas you guys are a team that have thrived on turnovers, and when teams create those opportunities for you, you thrive. So how are you going to attack a team that doesn't probably give you a lot of those openings?
Yeah, first of all, we have to stick with our defensive principles. You can't let the ball get to the middle. We have to do a great job communicating their ball screens and zoom actions. And then, most importantly, shot goes up. We have to block out. They don't have one guy that's a really good offensive rebounder, but they have 4 or 5 guys on the court at a time that all average 1.5 offensive rebounds per game. So it's just like I said, these games this time of year is what you do well. We're not going to be reinventing any wheels on game plans, especially with 48 hours.
It's a 48-hour turnaround, and for them having to travel.
Yeah.
Look. There's some built-in reasons the team can be optimistic about this game. I think you guys at your best are a better team than them for sure. They are traveling, all that kind of stuff, but they're also here for a reason. Yeah. This is a good team.
Yeah, they are definitely good. The Atlantic 10 is probably on par with the Mountain West in terms of conferences. So yeah, we're gonna have our hands full tonight, and like Coach has talked about, we just have to keep getting better, bringing our A game, playing together, and we'll have our success. And just to piggyback on St. Joe's, Coach Donahue is one heck of a coach.
Yeah.
I mean, took Cornell to the Sweet 16 back in 2010. When I was in the Ivy League at Dartmouth, I had the opportunity to play against him when he was at Penn. Like, he has his system, and he inherited a unique situation by when he took over this year with the head coach leaving in July. He kind of was the associate head coach. He took the job, and like they're doing his system without his type of players, which says a lot about him as a coach to be able to get the most out of a different type of player than he would normally have.
I'm curious if, because they're pretty good this year, maybe he should be getting these guys instead of whatever he was doing before. No, he's obviously been successful for quite a while. He is, coincidentally, a little bit of trivia. By the way, Kylo Sanchez, thank you for updating us on you're eating at Dion's, you'll be here soon, and you're sitting in Section R, row 20. So that's where Kylo Sanchez, rather, will be soon. Another quick one on the Lobos' favorite tonight. I will tell you they are favored by 10. That's a lot of points for a good team at this point of the season, too. But they are favored. If so, how much are you going to expect a close game? I expect a closer game than it'll be hard for me to project a third straight 20-point win in the NIT. But there we go. The Albury news, I have not been updated, although he's warming up and does have his sunglasses on. I don't think he would be warming up right now if he wasn't anticipating he can go, but we're 50 minutes away, and when a guy's sick, anything can change. But yeah, I think it's safe to say he's warming up for a reason. Is that safe to say he's warming up for a reason?
As far as
it can be,
yeah,
right?
he went through walkthrough this morning. We're on the go until he gets otherwise.
Some changes.
Yeah.
Okay, so St. Joe's, they don't play a deep roster. They don't play a deep bench. They had 5 guys, 5 starters play 31 or more minutes. 3 of them, I think, were like 35 or more minutes just on Sunday night. Is that something that you guys take into consideration and maybe even step up the pressure, the speed, and the tempo a little bit more, try and get the altitude factor and their short bench going? Or is it, as you said earlier, you're not reinventing the wheel, you don't want to change too much or tweak too much at this point of the year? How do you approach the fact that this is a team that doesn't go deep into their bench?
Yeah, so it's been something that we talked about all year. We probably haven't always maximized the pace that we've wanted to play at times, but we're going to continue to rebound, push, run, ball pressure, and hopefully wear them down. I think in the first 2 NIT games, we've seen teams about between that early second half really start to hit the wall, and we're hoping that we can do it again for a third time. But it doesn't come with just the altitude. It has to be us putting the pressure on them combined with the altitude.
I will give both coaches last week, well, Sunday and last Wednesday, credit for in post-game, both were asked, did you guys hit the wall because of the altitude in the second half? Both of them felt, I think we hit the wall, and then the altitude kicked in. But both of them think they hit the wall that you guys placed in front of them before the altitude kicked in. I don't know, maybe it was a combination of both, but neither one of them said, no, it's because of the altitude that we lost. Both of them credited you guys for playing great. And I would say it looks, to my eyes, that you guys are playing great. And a big reason for that is Uriah Tenet. And Chris Caputo the other night, the George Washington coach, said that guy controlled the game as well as he's seen any point guard control a game this year. He needed to in the absence of Dayton Albury. But can you speak a little bit to Dayton Albury again and just sort of how he's emerged over the last month of the season?
You mean Uriah?
Uriah. I said Dayton. Uriah. Yeah, how Uriah has stepped up from what I put in an article today. He's elevated from a really good freshman point guard season to just a really good point guard season.
Yeah. And, part of that is, when you're his size and you come in, now you're playing against grown men, like, it takes time. And, like, in the 24 years I've been doing this, like, most freshmen don't really start feeling the game at this level or below. We're not talking AJ DeBonzas and what are the guy Kansas type guys,
Peterson,
but Peterson. They don't start till probably late December, January, really starting to get into the groove. And when you then combine that with 14 new players, not like someone walking that can mentor them from day one and say, this is how things are done. It's been an all hands on deck effort, and we knew he was going to be a really good player, and it just takes time. And as our team has gotten better, it's partly because of Uriah's growth on the court.
Uriah's emergence has come to, I think, at least in part, because you did have a point guard doing what, had you not had Dayton Albury and Uriah was expected from day one to do what he's doing now, it probably would have been a lot of pressure that maybe could have stunted the growth of a freshman, but I think he's handled it well. I think Dayton does deserve some credit for that, for taking the pressure off of him, and I think right now you guys got two really good point guards for this system. The future looks bright.
Yeah.
This is a whole new world of college basketball. We won't get into all that, but the future looks bright for what Uriah can become within this system. I do want to bring up, you had mentioned him a little bit earlier, but Jaden Glover-Toscano, this guy for St. Joe's, he's a wing 6'6" guy. I'm looking at his three-pointers, and while he shot a really high volume of them on Sunday, the guy's hit multiple three-pointers for 6 straight games. Even before that, he hit 1-4-1. Like, he seems to be a volume three-point shooter. Volume three-point shooters in this building, well, I shouldn't say it like that. There have become volume three-point shooters that have come in here and weren't volume three-point shooters beforehand. But you guys have had some guys come in here and get hot.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that? Like, is there a reason that like guys come in here and like seem to get going with three? Nothing that you guys can figure out, right?
No.
I mean,
You're telling me that Emba from Colorado State was 2 for 5 on the season.
Memba hit 2 all year and hit 3 against you guys.
So, like,
it seems to me that if there is a curse left, we know it's not chili cheese fries anymore. If there's a curse left, it seems to be that the Pit seems to make great three-point shooters out of like one unsuspecting guy every few games.
Yeah, and for our strategy on him, the big thing is we have to make him with a hand in his face.
Yeah.
Like, we'll live with a couple that are contested, but he can't have the easy ones where he gets the rhythm and feels no one around him. Like, we have to do a great job contesting everything, having great talk to know who we're closing out to, and I think we have done a good job on guys that we have identified as shooters.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, I would agree that the star of an opposing team hasn't come in and dominated. It has been sort of an off the top of the line scout, right? It's not that they're not on the scout, but it's not been that headline for a whole lot. Looking at them again defensively, they seem to hold teams to a pretty good effective shooting percentage. I mentioned earlier they don't foul much. Why are they able though to hold your shooting percentages to such a low percentage?
Well, 2 things. A, Coach Donahue is known for a great position defense.
Okay.
Like, they'll pick up in full court man, they'll throw in some run and jump, but they're very position oriented. And then they got like that Philly toughness, they're physical in the half court. They do a good job keeping you in front. But the next point, most important point is it's hard to score at the rim with 22 Ajibor in there.
Yeah.
He's an amazing shot blocker. Like, in our film session, we showed some of our guys some of his block shots, and we got some wows out of them. So, like, that's something that when we get in the paint, we have to do a great job shot faking, getting him up. Hopefully, we get him in foul trouble. And
we got one more. All right, so if you guys can't get to the rim, what is plan B?
Well, I think we can get to the rim. And then what we have end of drive decision is what we call it. So if you get in there and see it in front, what's our next kick? What's our kick out? Who's in the window? Who's coming in behind? Finding that next one. And it may not be the shot at the rim that's our best shot tonight. It could be the kick out 3. It could be pass, then second drive. So,
and I worded that as if you get to the rim and he's there, you're not going to do it. Getting to the rim isn't meaning finishing at the rim for you guys. It means your offense basically starts when you get to the paint, right?
Yeah.
Then that's when you make that end of drive decision. I know the offense, a lot of people's eyeballs are centered on, okay, where's Jake? How are they going to get Jake the shot? Your guys' offense really starts when somebody gets to the paint.
For the most part, yes. Yeah.
Oversimplified, but
yeah.
All right, so what do we got? What do we got to look for in terms of them offensively? We talked about a single player offensively in his 3 points, but it looks like as a team, they're a high 3-point volume. Is that right?
Yep.
So they will be shooting a lot of threes. Do they shoot a lot of bad threes? Because they're shooting such a high volume?
No, yes and no. Like, they have a couple guys that will take some ones that are contested, but I think they have a good pulse on who they are as a team, and it's not going to be like we're coming down and jacking just to jack.
They have a lot of good ball movement too. I'm looking at assists per field goals made, 31st in the country in that, so it seems like they have good ball movement.
Yeah.
Usually that's an indicator. I mean, I don't know if you have bad ball movement. It could be a top 30 team in that. But is their ball movement something that affects you guys defensively in any way? I mean, teams that have good ball movement, I think you guys have been okay against.
That's what we prepare for all year. Right? Any good basketball team has good ball movement.
All right, let's get a couple of these questions. Make sure they're not in, then I'll let you go. Make sure none of these are for you. Any recruiting news, I'll get to that here in a minute. I will say on recruiting, the transfer portal era, recruiting will really pick up in a couple weeks. It doesn't mean recruiting's not going on. It just means that a lot of schools have to kind of figure out who's here and then what D1 holes they have to plug. But yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. I thought during the San Houston game it was said that the quarterfinals wouldn't be able to be held in the pit. Yeah, that all changed because the NIT, Pro Bull Riders Association, or PBR, and Tiger Invitational and UNM came to an agreement. The dirt will start coming in tomorrow. I love parking for free. Any chance for a St. Joe's chicken interview? I believe it's a hop.
It is a hop.
I can try. That's all I can say is I can try. Any last words you want to say about your team or St. Joe's or just what's going on tonight with the last game in the pit for the year?
Yeah, I think our guys want to know that we dropped an opportunity at the end of the regular season against Colorado State, and want to send our team out, send this building out the right way tonight. So that's our mentality. We appreciate the support, the fans, and it's funny, like, we've got like 9,200, and it's been the most in the NIT, and people are talking like we need more, and like it's the fans that have been here. It's been loud. It still sounds like 50,000. And we just want to make sure that we do things the right way on the way out. Hopefully, we're playing next Thursday in Indianapolis against Tulsa or Wichita State. That'd be a dream, because I know I've talked with a lot of coaches the last couple days, and they're in their first week of spring workouts, and we're going to shoot around in an hour. So it's been an awesome opportunity, and I don't think anybody in our program's played in April. So it'd be great to April 2nd when that ball goes up, hopefully in Hinkle Fieldhouse where they're playing.
I will say, to your point on the fans, UNM is averaging about 8,200 fans per game in the NIT. If you take out those two crowds and look at the other 22 games that have been played in the NIT so far, the average attendance is somewhere around the 3,000 range. You guys are average is about 5,000 more than the other NIT averages. It's been tremendous, and it's real. I mean, it's noticed by more than just the people here. So,
Geoff, thank you for everything this year. Appreciate it.
This has been fun. Hopefully, we got 3 more of these. This will be the last one in the pit, but let's see if we can get 2 more of these.
Yep, perfect.
Two more after tonight.
Yeah, 2 more.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks. Here we go. Scott has been nice enough to join us all season long. We'll give Will Weber a little more space here now that I'm blocking him out here. Oh, look, you can see me on 2. Let's do the Grammar Vision camera flip. There's your Lobos over there. Warming up. I will take this message off the screen. I will try and give Will a little more space here. I will now let's do this and this. There you go. All right, so as Scott said, my daughter has just texted me asking for a ride home. I guess she has forgotten. I am at, my text message is coming up on my computer screen here. So, anyway. Yeah, I got some preserves here from a fan. This is the 3rd time I've gotten some, and they are good. They are good. So, anyway. All right, let me get back to Alex Vargas' question here. Alex asked earlier, Any updates in terms of recruiting? I know the season isn't over yet, but I feel like we haven't heard much. There hasn't been much to hear. If you look at recruiting news that's out there right now on social media, the updates that players are entering the transfer portal and stuff like that, the NCAA doesn't allow schools to contact players right now if they are at D1 level. UNM has 2 international recruits that they expect to sign. It will not happen before the transfer portal opens, and like it or not, until we know if Eric Olin and his staff will be back next year. All of that plays into it, right? What I can tell you is that in this new era of college basketball, we are in a kind of an April or March until April holding pattern on recruiting news. Because I can tell you, if recruiting news comes out right now, that means some school was tampering. And yes, there are schools tampering, but news of that coming out is not going to come out right now. So what they need to find out, the Lobos and 364 other Division I programs, what they need to find out right now is how many of their own players are leaving that they don't even know about yet. Once that portal opens, they will get some surprises. That's when they find out. That's when UNM finds out, oh, wow, we all of a sudden have a big man that left 2 years ago to Texas Tech on the last day that the portal was open. And they went the entire portal process thinking that they did not have to fill the shoes left by JT Toppin. That may happen again. So what schools do now at this point of the season in March is they are monitoring everything. Yes, they are seeing who is available. They are seeing who is entering, all that stuff. But until the portal opens and they find out who some of their players that might be leaving that haven't told them yet, you're not going to hear a whole lot of, yes, UNM contacted this person and offered them a scholarship, because that would be tampering. They would get in trouble by the NCAA if news like that was coming out. So I would tell you April 7th, when the transfer portal opens, I believe it's April 7th, when that transfer portal opens, you will start hearing a lot of news of the Lobo players who are leaving. You will start hearing a lot of news about the Lobo targets at other Division I schools and what holes need to be filled. There are some holes that UNM knows it needs to fill. While it is all but, I mean, it hasn't been announced, so it hasn't been made official. While Tomislav Bullion's return is now, it seems to be imminent to college basketball. It seems like he has been granted that extra year of eligibility, and UNM has not yet gotten the official papers and feel comfortable to announce that yet. It does sound like he and the team and the coaches all believe, yeah, it's happening. So Tomislav Bullion pretty much is going to get a new year or another year of eligibility. It doesn't mean he's coming back here. The guy is from Split, Croatia, here to make as much money as he could in 1 year, and now he's got 2 years to make as much money as he can before he returns to Croatia to make the money he was making professionally overseas, which is not the kind of money he's making here. If he gets offered a bag, and he will, that UNM can't match, then he's not going to be here. And that's just how it's going to go. So if that happens, JT Rock would probably more than likely be back, because this is all assuming the whole coaching staff and everyone's back, right? But I would think that JT Rock's return has a lot to do with Tomislav Bullion's return, right? Will one of them enter the transfer portal? Will both of them enter the transfer portal? I don't think so. I think one of the two, there might be a chance that they will, because growth is being stunted by not getting playing time if you return, and Tomislav Bullion's still going to get 30 minutes a game. And JT Rock, while you can next year go into the season playing 2 bigs, if you don't then target a Division I big who's ready to play from day one as at least a third in that rotation, you're going to have the same situation as this year. If one gets in foul trouble, if one's having an off night, if one is injured for any period of time, like, you're in a lot of trouble then if you prepare all season for 2 bigs and then one goes out. So you better have 3 or 4 bigs, as opposed to this year's Lobo team that has only 2, and people want them to play both of them at the same time. You can't overlap minutes when that's happening. So they trained all year a system that has 4 out, 1 in big kind of system, really 5 out a lot of the time. But that whole system is based on how they prepare all season, right? So next year they could go into it preparing for 2 bigs, but that's only if they have 3 on the roster that they can count on, or 4 on the roster that they can count on. They didn't have that this year. So let me see. Got another text message here from me. So anyway, transfer portal is where we are looking at the recruiting news to start picking up, to answer your question. John Romero is in on YouTube. Hey, GG, I'm in the pit and got my eyes on you, and Will Weber, always enjoy your pregame show. Let's take care of business. Lobos head to Indy. That is the plan. I will do my part from over here in a absolute non-affecting of the game way. But I will be in Indy if they are, that's for sure. Where's the Chicken Man? Craig is in on YouTube. Where's the Chicken Man? I will never stop. It will never stop flopping once it hits the floor. Eat more chicken. So the Chicken Man, the St. Joe's Hawk, has not made an appearance yet. But yes, you are correct. It is not allowed to stop flapping its wings once it is in uniform. Is the understanding I have. So Franklin Faye is saying, will these two international bigs be only eligible for 1 year like Tom? They have not been ruled eligible or ineligible by the NCAA, so I don't know the answer to that. UNM does not know the answer to that. I can tell you UNM suspects they will be eligible for multiple years. I believe both will be eligible for all 4 years is the expectation. That's me, without 100% authority on what the NCAA has already approved. But I believe that the expectation is absolutely multiple years. I believe it to be all 4 years, but I'm not the guy making the decision either. So just take that bit of information with the grain of salt I'm offering you, is that the NCAA has not yet said exactly what these guys' eligibility will be. Lewis at the Q. Yes, it's louder in the building today. You're not old man yelling at cloud today. It is a little louder today. I will tell you, I think it's actually quieter than it was on Sunday. Sunday, I think, was even louder. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, like I do feel like old man yelling at a cloud. What is the UNM budget for players? $6 million or $3 million? I will tell you that this year it is under $3 million for men's basketball. I don't know what football's number was this year. Next year, there's a hope that the rev share number gets to the $5 or $6 million range. There is expectation that if Eric Olin and this roster return, that if basketball can get to that $3 million range, plus at least some NIL money outside of the rev share structure, outside of UNM structure, which is perfectly legal, of course. That's how a lot of your power conference leagues are doing it, especially with basketball, where in those power conferences, football is getting a bulk of that $20 million cap. I will tell you that at UNM next year, the hope would be to if you could get 3 and 3 for football, 3 for basketball, and shave off a little bit off of both of those numbers to help cross country, to help women's basketball, of course, which that number will come up in the hiring process that's going on right now over the next week or so for UNM. I would tell you that if they could get up to $6 million next year, that would be a goal of UNM's. I would expect it to be more along the lines of maybe a $5 million rev share next year for UNM athletics, split between football and basketball. I don't see basketball dipping below $3 million next year. Basketball is, as much as Eck ignited some passion around football, you don't get 1 year of success and then just throw all the money into that and disregard the cash cow of more than half a century of what's been funding the athletic department, which is basketball. Basketball will still be $3 million or $3 million plus in rev share next year, whereas football, I think, will be in the $2.5 to $3 million range. If they could go 50-50, that'd be probably ideal, is my guess. And Eck is certainly working on getting that number higher, and more continued success will get that number higher. But be a big improvement over what they've had in recent years if you get to about a $5 to $6 million rev share number for UNM next year. I would tell you that I think that's realistic. Let's go with the $3 million to $2.5 million for football kind of split, so about $5.5 million in rev share next year. I think that's going to happen at UNM, and that would be very competitive within the Mountain West. Pong's with Spectre is in. Geoff is career hits. Geoff is a career hit Sage listener. One of us. That is true. That is true. Also, kind of like that UNM got to host this many games in the pit in the postseason, less pressure. It feels like you get to build on what you've already been building, already doing. I would agree with you, man. I think the way they've played their last two games, especially after the first few minutes of game one of the NIT, when you could see the pressure was in fact off, and you could see they were just enjoying themselves. Like I think that this Lobo team has been having fun. It's been fun to watch them have fun. I do think that last month of the season, whether they will admit it or not, I don't care if they admit it or not. My opinion, they played like a team that was under pressure because they kept hearing about, oh man, look at this surprise team out in the Mountain West, and Eric Owen's first year, they're going to make the NCAA tournament. Well, they played on the bubble for an entire month, and then the bubble burst in that final week when teams that got a second look at them and even third look at them in the Mountain West tournament started scouting them a little better. I mean, Jake Hall's worst game against San Diego State was game 3, right? Don't tell me that didn't have at least a little bit to do with scouting. I would tell you that the Lobos' last 11 games of the regular season compared to, if you count the last 9 games of the regular season plus the 2 Mountain West games, they weren't very good. They went 5-6. They didn't hit a ton of threes. They weren't as efficient. If you look at the previous 11 games, which started Mountain West play and went through game 11 of Mountain West play, they were 9-2 in that stretch, the best record in the Mountain West over that 11-game stretch, and they were fantastic efficiently offensively. That went downhill in that final 11 when teams got a second look at them. They were scouted better. Freshmen like Jake and Uriah were probably getting scouted a little differently for the first time in their careers. I thought over the last few weeks, Uriah took that up a step. I think individually, Jake took that up a notch. I think as a team, UNM didn't necessarily respond as well to that second time through the schedule when they saw teams the second time. I'm not saying anything that you can't look at paper and see. Their numbers weren't as good. Their wins and losses were worse. Their efficiency was worse. So when they got to the NIT and we're facing teams for the first time again, they're having fun again. They're playing well again. The pressure is off. Teams seeing them for the first time don't know how to handle this offense. I think it's been fun to watch. There we go. Also, will you cover the Final Four if they go to Indy? That's my done. Haha, done. All right. Also, will you cover the Final Four if they go to Indy? That's my plan. I have not been told otherwise, so I will ask for forgiveness if my bosses say, no, you weren't supposed to do that. I will not ask for permission. I will ask for forgiveness. So I'm planning to book some flights if and when they happen. Franklin Faye is in on YouTube. Do you know the heights of both international bigs? 6'10", I think 6'9", or no, 6'8", 6'10", I believe are their heights. They've both been in the pit this year. I reported on both of them when they were visiting. I'll try and pull up their names and respond to repost the tweets and the emptying the notebooks where I mentioned them. We had pictures of them in emptying the notebook twice. So it wasn't like a huge surprise. They were sitting right behind the Lobos bench across from where I am right now. And, some fans talk to them, too. Do you know if Olin is being considered for the USU job at all? Yeah, it would be considered. I mean, I don't know why he'd go there. I can tell you just because a bunch of Utah State fans and one Instagram guy who's really good at what he does but isn't in the circle of the know, if you will, in coaching, doesn't like a rumor doesn't mean it's true. Eric Olin talking to Boston College, that's true because there were some reasons outside of basketball, I will tell you, that Eric Olin had interest in possibly moving his family to Boston. There are some things outside of basketball that he has to consider that aren't about money and aren't about programs. Logan does not have those things, I assure you. And a lower NIL budget is not as appealing. Going to another mid-major with a lower NIL budget into a league that you cannot win because Gonzaga's there, that is not appealing to Eric Olin. It's not as appealing as Utah State fans think it is. Utah State fans are tremendous fans, and they want Eric Olin for a reason because everybody wants Eric Olin, except for some reason, still some Lobo fans that are idiots. I will tell you, though, that Eric Olin going to Utah State would shock the hell out of me if that happened. As read into that whatever you want, that's me telling you I would be shocked as hell if Eric Olin went to Utah State because they do not offer him. They are not in any way the answer to what he is looking for. And that's not to knock the program. It is to say there are some specific things that Eric is looking for that have to do with non-basketball matters. And if UNM can appease him, I would lean towards I think he'll be back another year at UNM and continuing the fielding offers from high major programs that really want this guy. I cannot express enough what Eric Olin's reputation among athletic directors, search firms, and other coaches is. It is really, really high. And the Lobo and Lobo fans should appreciate it while they got it. Can you tell us any idea about how much the collective is? The collective isn't the money. The collective might get another $1 million out of this. I don't know. It's now rev share. And just Jason Velasquez on YouTube is asking the question. So we have a better idea of rev share plus 505 Sports Venture. Rev share should get to about $5 million from UNM. I think rev share from UNM, not from any collective, will get to the $5 million mark next year. That includes people who were donating to the collective, now donating to Lobo Alliance, and that money goes to UNM, goes to the Lobo Club, goes to the rev share money. The collective is still a thing, and there are some outside deals that will have to happen next year and could happen. I don't know what their number is. I anticipate that UNM will be forced, just like every other school, to disclose some of these rev share numbers because they are state-funded institutions. You cannot mix private dollars with public dollars and not have to be transparent about it. And UNM is fighting this in court right now. The Foundation for Open Government is suing UNM, and the Journal's part of that lawsuit, frankly, and it's happening around the country because there's no other government entity or university that gets public money that doesn't have to disclose how they're spending that money, and this is no exception. It doesn't make sports fans happy because they think they're an exception to that, but anytime you're getting state-funded money, every tax dollar makes it public, and therefore I think these numbers will be transparently revealed sometime in the next several months, maybe a year, but not because the universities want you to know what those numbers are. Give your Final Four prediction and champion. I will tell you, if we're talking NIT, I do think UNM wins tonight. I think Tulsa, that would be a chalk for tonight. No. How about this? I'll go with Wichita State. Wichita State and UNM out of this side of the NIT quarterfinals. Auburn, I do think beats Nevada. I know that's not what people necessarily want, but I do think Auburn beats Nevada and Dayton. So let's go Auburn and Dayton in the other Final Four of the NIT, and the other semifinal of the NIT. Let's go UNM and Wichita State, I suppose. I don't know. Yeah, no, let's go Wichita State. And Wichita State Tulsa is a toss-up to me. I don't know. But those will be the other semifinal. We'll go championship. Look, I'll write it out. I think UNM's playing well enough now that they get to the championship. I think they will play, let's see, Auburn or Dayton. I don't know. Let's call it Dayton and say they're going to get another A10 team. So the New Mexico Dayton NIT final in Indianapolis. Be an awful lot of Dayton fans there, I'll bet. It's drivable. So we shall see. I'm right behind you. Kylo, what's up, man? I'm glad you're here. Do you expect another 10,000 attendance tonight? I do not. Or over 10,000 attendance tonight. I do not. I think it'll get in the 8 range. I think 8 would be a doable number tonight. I was told yesterday something that made me think they could get to 9 or 10. I was told something earlier today that makes me think they're not going to get to what they were at Sunday night. Less than 24-hour turnaround actually is really hard. Especially for individual tickets that this was all money right after the Mountain West tournament week that a lot of people spent money on, right? And now you're asking for another $100 tonight to come to a game, and this is the third one. You're asking for a lot of New Mexicans in a week and a half's time to come up with another $300, $400, $500 worth of ticket and concession money right after maybe some of those people spent all their discretionary income on a Mountain West tournament. This has been fantastically impressive to me, the attendance that they've gotten for the NIT, but there is a reason the NIT attendance isn't great everywhere. It's because money is it's easy to say, man, fans should show up and be that person at home looking at tweets about the announced attendance and be like, I remember when it was 18,000. First of all, UNM never averaged 18,000, not even averaged 18,000. They had a lot of games at 18,000, but like there's some revisionist history about every night was standing room only. It was not. I'm sorry, it was not. The other thing is there were years of numbers well known around the WAC, when it was the WAC, of some Davalos fudged numbers about some of those attendance figures. I will add to that, the ticket prices weren't anywhere near what they are now. Families affording to come to a whole bunch of games now is not the same as families affording to do it back then. So there we go. Did friends call to hear you? Difficult to hear you. Yeah, I would I would turn the microphone up higher if I could, but this background noise in the pit has been kind of ridiculous this year. 10,000 easy, Kylo Sanchez is saying. I would tell you, I don't think it'll hit 10. Seems like you get massages from people, messages from people. I thought you said, well, you did say massages, but you do correct it here. But yeah, I thought you were telling me I get massages from people. That would be nice. Well, I guess maybe not. It depends on the people, right? So yeah. Does that mean it's going to be a battle to keep Olin? Seems that way, sadly. Absolutely, it's a battle to keep Olin. It's been a battle to keep Olin since December. Before league play started, there were teams showing interest. He has the best agent, Brett Just. He has the best agent, most active agent, most successful in getting his clients on the table and in front of a whole lot of programs. Brett Just is the guy that does that. That is Eric Olin's agent. The best agent in college basketball is shopping Eric Olin around because that is the agent's job. So, yeah, it's going to be hard to keep him because a lot of programs want him. There's also some things that, again, are not about money and not about the program per se that frankly are a factor that could come into play. Watching this while in the stands. What's up, Geoff? How you doing? I appreciate all the fans that are here in attendance watching this. I can hear them. I'm in the pit. I'm glad you can hear me, Kylo. Thank you. Grammar, cool if I go meet you. Of course it is. If Olin does have, are there any front runners for replacement? Nah, I don't have any. I have no idea who's on the Parker executive search firm's list of who they will put in front of Ryan Berryman's eyes. Ryan Berryman certainly has his own thoughts, but this is all a search firm game nowadays. It is what it is. I can't tell you who front runners are while the job is not even open yet. But I will tell you it will come down to Daniel Parker and Parker Executive Search and who they place in front of Ryan Berryman's eyes. Is Albury playing tonight? The plan is for Albury to play. He is to play. He's warming up. Let me see if he's still out there. He is. Yeah, he's still warming up. So the plan is Albury plays tonight. I can tell you that we're 15 minutes away now from tip-off. I am going to do one quick update here of the betting line and of the starting lineups to see if they've been entered yet, and I'm going to sign off. You can get all our coverage on ABQJournal.com. Again, we are sponsored by Sandia Sportsbook, and appreciate them for that. Scores. I'm going to ESPN because it's the quickest way to get a tournament line. NIT lines tonight. First of all, in the other NIT, Wichita and Tulsa. 8 minutes left in the game. Tulsa's up 66-64 over Wichita. The winner of that game plays the winner of this game, where the New Mexico Lobos are favored by 10.5. We are now 13 minutes away from tip-off. We are also looking at a starting lineup that has been entered. No, it has not. No starting lineup yet. Dayton Albury is warming up and will play. I don't know if that means he returns to the starting lineup or not, but there you go. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the comments. Does Utah State have a lot more NIL money? They have less NIL money. Tyler Lee Dreams. Utah State has less NIL than New Mexico. Jared Calhoun talked about it recently. He knows it. Utah State knows it. Utah State does not have as much NIL as New Mexico. Not in basketball. And I don't know that they have much more in football, but definitely not in basketball. So if we're talking to Eric Olin rumors, that is purely Utah State fans creating that. They wanted him before they got Calhoun, did not get him. They want him again now because he's a fantastic coach. I don't think Eric Olin is looking right now to go to Logan, Utah, based on some of the external factors that will come into his decision if he does leave. Kylo Sanchez, I'll wait till you're off. 50 Gaming, we got it. Or we get it. Albuquerque isn't San Diego. Yeah, that's you would be wrong if you think this is just I like San Diego better than Albuquerque. That is not what this is about. There are some amenities that certain cities have, and others don't. And family health has a lot to do with it. Great job, Geoff. I appreciate it. BT on YouTube. Appreciate all you guys. Lobos are heading back up. About to do the national anthem. Geoff, can you see if they can turn up the music volume here, please? Yeah, let me see what I can do. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody. 12 minutes from tip-off. Doing the national anthem now. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you guys will see me 2 more pregame shows in Indianapolis next week in the NIT semifinals and championship game. Thanks, guys.